So today I thought I'd spice things up and do something slightly different. You know, I feel like my channel has been a little bit too happy and chill these days.
This romance manga is sweet, this romance manga is amazing, you must read this manga.
This shit is too pink, it's too bright, I want to go back to my roots.
To go back to darkness.
So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Posnikov, your host, and today we'll be talking about not one depressing manga, but 3 really depressing mangas that make you cry, if you have a soul of course. And I can guarantee you that you haven't read these mangas, so stay tuned for this video. Before the video starts, there are time codes for the different mangas I'll be presenting, and the links are in the description. But I appreciate it if you liked, subscribe and commented on this video if you enjoy my content. Most of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed, and doing at least one of these 3 actions would help me greatly with sharing mangas with even more people by letting the algorithm push my videos more. Anyways, let's not waste any more time and get started already. So let's start with one that's not long but completed. Its title is pretty explicit, and as you guessed it, it contains elements about death, illness and also romance. Since this is a pretty depressing manga, I thought that it'd be interesting to introduce the plot to you to decide whether or not you'd like to read it. So let's have a quick look at the story, okay? The story of a dying girl tells the story of Seto Haruka, a beautiful high schooler who suffers from a terminal disease. Her doctor told her that she has no more than a year to live and narrows it to 6 months. She decides to make the most of it and go back to high school as if nothing really happened. There she meets a girl named Shiho and her childhood friend Kazuya. As the 3 of them get closer, her health quickly catches up to her and they decide to make the most of her last summer together. Now this story is about accepting death, but also about how hard it is to die young. I've seen a lot of people dislike it for being so short and the plot being so fast-paced, but this is how terminal illness works as a whole. One day someone might seem good, but then weeks later, they're on the doors of death. And this story portrays how miserable we are when our own body fails us. It has romance that is bittersweet, drama, and an epilogue that adds more weight to the story and characters. Now while the first manga of the video was heartbreaking due to the fact that we knew that the main character would die, this one is quite depressing due to its heavy themes and characters. Trigger warnings for this one as it contains suicide, child loss, depression, bullying and sexual violence. Nonetheless, it's a beautiful story about growth and the translations are almost completed, so it's definitely worth a read. So what about the plot? Nora and Weeds tell the story of Yamada Hajime, a middle-aged detective who has lost hope in everything after the death of his daughter. He's now living alone and divorced, and he works in special operations to dismantle prostitution networks in a very corrupted Japan. Now one night he undergoes a special operation to dismantle a maison close that prostitutes literal teenage girls. There he meets a girl who looks similar to his late daughter. As the brothel is dismantled, the girl runs away, her eyes completely void of any hope. One rainy night, as Hajime goes out in the streets, he sees her helping a stray cat. There the 2 of them will get closer, and Hajime, who cannot help to see his late daughter and that young girl, whose name is Umino Shiori, will allow her to stay at his house. There he'll learn more about this girl. She's a runaway girl in middle school who lived an awful childhood and was desperate enough to sell her body to escape her house. But what Hajime is doing isn't really legal. He wants to help Shiori and save her as he sees his daughter in her, and thus begins a fake father-daughter relationship between a depressed detective who lost any hope and a runaway girl who was desperate enough to sell her body to run away from her home. To be honest, this story is quite heavy in terms of plot. There is a lot going on in 20 chapters and the relationship between Shiori and Hajime is quite interesting. Nonetheless, the manga is a sad story, but unlike the first one, it's about growth and about leaving the past behind. I recommend it to anyone who's into stories that are complex and well written. The art style is also quite special and definitely not to anyone's taste, but I really love it. Before I start this one, I want to warn you that this manga is a yuri, meaning that it contains elements of romance between 2 girls. So if you dislike this type of stories, skip to this time code. Honestly, it's definitely worth the read, but I'll give you 5 seconds to skip. So this manga tells the story of Hinako, a girl in high school who lives in a seaside town. But Hinako isn't like any teenagers. Years ago, she lost her entire family in a car crash, and due to that, she feels somewhat detached to life as a whole. She has a nihilistic approach to life and is quite depressed overall. One day, as she looks at the bridge, she considers ending her life there, when suddenly, a girl with long black hair named Shiori pokes at her. Then a monster comes out of the sea and attacks Hinako. Shiori then transforms into a monster as well and saves Hinako by killing that sea monster that attacked her. Actually, it turns out that Shiori is a mermaid, a monster of the seas, and she came to meet Hinako because she wants to eat her. There begins the story of a depressed girl who has lost all hope in life and a monster that promises to kill her and eat her once she feels a glint of happiness. Now, the quick introduction to the plot doesn't do justice to the manga. There is much more to it than what I'll let you on, and out of the 3 mangas I presented today, I'd say this one is my favorite. It has everything you'd want in a manga: great fighting scenes, great art, amazing and attaching characters, and a depressing atmosphere that's quite rare to see in most modern mangas. Anyways, this might be one of my favorite romance mangas overall, so I definitely recommend you to read it. There are around 30 chapters right now, and I can't believe not a lot of people have talked about it, and no one made a video on it. Now, I did say I'd present 3 mangas in this video, but I'm feeling really generous today, and if you want to quite quickly, here are some very short mangas and one-shots that will destroy your soul. I'll go around these quickly because I can't talk too much about the plot without spoiling the story. I won't be putting trigger warnings either here, since it kinda spoils the twist of the story as they're so short. Anyways, ready, set, go. This Voice Means Farewell is a one-shot about Mitsuki and Michiru, 2 students who started a band after graduating high school. They make music videos online and are starting to get traction as a band. One day, the 2 of them meet a rookie girl named Sorano, and the friendship between the 3 of them will start as they share their passion for music. This is a beautiful one-shot about life, and I legit almost made me shed a tear. Wilted Flowers is a one-shot that tells the story of Mizushima, who after the death of his mother, dedicated his life to studying and pursuing the goal of making a flower that would never wilt. One day he meets a cute florist named Hanamori, and as the 2 of them get closer, his perspective on life will forever change. This is a beautiful and philosophical romance story between 2 individuals with very different perspectives on life. This is a Chinese webcomic of 3 chapters that tells a story between 2 high school students, an antisocial guy that spends his evenings to a night cafe, and a dropout and past classmate who has been prostituting herself. As the 2 of them meet every night at the night cafe, you discover more about the girls and her reasons behind her actions, but the story will also delve into their relationship. This one is pretty rough and overall it's quite shocking, so be aware that it's not a story for the faint of heart. Now, last but not least, one night just before their 3rd wedding anniversary, Kazumi was surprised by his wife's proposal for divorce. He's confused about her reasons as they both have been loving to each other. That's when he discovers a secret that will change their lives forever. This one really caught me off guard, and you need to read it, it definitely make you cry. Alright, that was all for today's video. I thought I'd thank you guys with a special video since we're approaching 5k subscribers. If I'm being honest, I'm not recommending you to binge read all of these mangas. They are really depressing, and the one-shots as well are actually the ones that caught me off guard the most, as they are so short but convey so many emotions at once. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to support me, like and subscribe, it helps greatly with the channel's growth, and I can't stress how much I enjoy reading your comments, so please let me know what you thought of the mangas in the video. If the video does well, I'll do a part 2 of this one. See ya.